All right, so now it should validate dot on auth state change. Yes, now it's working perfectly, and you should be able to see the new account over there. Cool, it's working fine. All right, so next, the most important thing now, what we need to do, we need to work with the email and password authentication part as well. So that's what we are going to do next. All right, then, so let's fix the sign up first. That means we need to create a new user. So let's go to the authentication and click the email link authentication, sorry, password authentication. So click the web and choose the password authentication. And there you can able to see how you can create a new user with email and password, right? We already have the authentication provider and we already have that method, everything. Cool. So now what we need to do is, so I'm going to create a new method over here right after that. This is the state where we are creating. So here I'm just going to create a new method. So const create new user, open it, callback function. So basically this function is supposed to be an async function. All right, so inside here we need to create this new user only if the email status, that validation, so the get email validation status is true, then only we are supposed to do that action, right? So await create new, not create new user, create user with email and password, open it. So you need to supply the auth, you need to supply the email, then you need to supply the password. So auth you can get it from your auth from your Firebase which you exported. Then you need to supply your email which you're having in your state. Then you need to supply your password, which also it is in your state itself, password. So once everything is done, that means we will get a promise. From that promise I will get the user credential and open it. So if I do have the user credential, then only I need to move into it, and I'm just going to say console.log user cred. The reason why I'm here just doing the console log, because once the email is created, it will automatically trigger that onAuthStateChanged method. That listener event will be activated. That means we already configured in our app.js. Once it is authenticated, the user will be navigated to that particular screen, right? All right, so we need to capture whether if there is any error or also not. So this is the place where we are finishing the then function. So dot catch, if there is an error, then console.log that error too, of course. So save these changes. Now this function is created. I hope there is no mistakes. Cool, there is no mistakes. Copy this function, and where we are doing the sign up, this is the place. So for this, on click, I'm gonna paste that method, create new user. For login we need to do it next. All right, so now what I'm going to do is so here I'm just going to say sample@gmail.com. that's valid now, and I'm going to say sample at basically this is working in a reverse way. If you notice here, this is working in a reverse way. If it is slash, that means it is not supposed to be displayed, right? So user auth, what's the mistake we are making over here? We made some mistake in the user auth input. If it is pass, then show password text. All right, I think we are displaying the icon in a wrong way. That's the reason. So let's go to the sign up itself. So not sign up, it is coming from user auth only. Yes, here it is, here only. Yeah, this is the one. This is the place where we are displaying this icons and everything, right? Oh, my bad. This is supposed to be here, and this is supposed to be at the top. Change the name. So now you can able to see it is hidden, and if it is I open, you can able to see that. All right, so sample at 1 2 3. Fine, let me clear the console. If I click this sign up option, I'm getting the error, Firebase error, an auth operation not allowed, because we haven't enabled that authentication provider, my bad. So what we need to do is, so go to your sign in methods, click add new provider, click the email and password, enable the email password, and click save. So this will enable the email authentication provider. So now if you click this, clear this, if you click this, you should get that user credential from sign up over here. All right, this is the credential that we got. And if I go here, users, and now you should be able to see that sample@gmail.com. So once you click that, it's automatically authenticated, and you can see that from the app.js, the onAuthStateChanged is triggered, and it's giving you the sample@gmail.com. That is because that listener is triggered and it's giving you the data. And this is coming from our sign up. That's the reason, is because we printed it, right? In the sign up, we tried to print the user credential over here, console.log credential. That is the credential we are getting. Once the user is created, you can see that instantly it's triggering that onAuthState listener event, right? That's the reason you are getting the console log for that event first, right? Anyways, it's working fine. Now all we have to do is to do the login. All right, so click login. So now here I need to worry about the login now. So if I refresh this one, you can able to see the sample@gmail.com is authenticated right now. All right, so I need to go to the login. For login also, we have to do the exact same stuff. Now what we need to do is, we need to create a new function. So just like the same way, after here, I'm just going to say const login with email password, open it. Oops, this is supposed to be a function, right? And this function is supposed to be an async function, right? So here what I'm going to say is, if get email validation status, if it is true, then await sign in with email and password, open it, send your auth, send your email, send your password. That will gives you the .then promise, that will return a promise. You will get your user credential over there, user cred, open it. If you have the user cred, then if we have that user credential, then we'll just do the console.log user credential. If not, we'll catch that, we'll catch the error, and we'll get that error message, console.log error.message object, because if the user typed the email address wrong, then we need to say invalid email address. If the user typed password wrong, we need to get the password, invalid password or password mismatch error. So we need to throw that alert messages and everything, right? So let me show you here. For instance, if I'm typing sample12 @Gmail, of course I know that this email address does not exist in our email ID in our database. Then if I type sample@123 as a password, and if I hit sign login, of course that is going to be giving nothing because we haven't configured for the click event. So go to your login option, and where is it, this button, here it is, on click, paste that button, save it. And now if I click this login option, I will get an error like Firebase error, user not found, because we need to use this message to display that alert message, right? So alert message is supposed to be displayed right after this button. So where we created over here. Now what I need to do is, I'm just going to display a paragraph tag. Okay, we are just going to display a paragraph tag. So let's create a paragraph tag, and I'm going to add some fade in and fade out animations for it. Paragraph tag, enter. So here I'm just going to say, like, for the time being, some alert. Later we change that message according to it. Class name, it's going to be text red 500, something like that. Now you should be able to see that alert message over there, right? So what I need to do is, so basically this alert message needs to be fade in and fade out smoothly. So that for that particular reason, we're gonna add the fade in and fade out animation. So for that, in a framer motion, we have 3 different states, like initial state, initially how exactly that this object is going to looks like. Initially the opacity level is going to be 0, and I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it 3 more times, and the animate state and the exit state. All right, so save these changes. This should have a unique key, and that is going to be alert message. I'm just going to keep that key. All right, so here initially the opacity is going to be 0 and the animate state is going to be 1. On exit the opacity should be 0. Again it should be 0. All right, so save these changes. So it is not a good way to keep all these things over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder over here. I'm going to say animation. Inside the animations folder, I'm going to create a new file called index.js, and over here I'm going to export that animation. So export const fade in out equals to create an object. So all I'm going to do is to copy that from here, copy and paste it. So we need to customize this a bit because it is not supposed to be an equal sign. Create a multi-cursor editor and paste it right after the equal sign. Everything should be colon, and here it's fine. So right after here, delete this, and add the comma everywhere, just like this. All right. So what we have to do is, so key is fine. We don't need to have the key object over here. We can keep the key over there itself. So save these changes. Now this is ready. All I have to do, go to the sign up thing, and I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to open this option, and I'm going to spread all those, and I'm going to import the fade in out. So basically what happens, all these objects will be spread out over here to keep this part literally clean. All right, so basically this alert message should not be displayed every single time. This needs to be displayed only if I have the alert state as true. So I'm going to create 2 more states over here. Use state snippet alert and set alert initially as false, then use state snippet. I don't know why it's loading. Use state snippet alert message. So the alert message is going to be an empty string for the time being. So where it is, that alert message over here. So this entire part needs to be displayed only if I have the alert message. So if you wish to execute the exit animation also, you need to wrap your animations with animate presence, which is provided by the framer motion. So this will make sure the child node is waited until that exit animation is performed successfully. Otherwise it will simply unmount that node from that child component node from your React, right? So we need to make sure this needs to wait until the exit animation will perform successfully. Open the alert. If the alert is true, that means I need to display that, and I need to display the alert message. Save these changes. Now this will not be displayed over there. All right, so now this is the place where we are getting that error. So what I need to do is, we have that error, user auth not found. All right, so I'm just going to check if the error message, dot includes, make sure that the spelling everything is properly written. So if the error message dot includes, open it. If it is include this user not found state, this message, that means invalid email address, right? That means the user is not found. Open it, and I'm just going to say set alert as true, and I'm going to set the alert message as let's say it as invalid ID, user not found. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. This is supposed to be else if. Why we are getting an error over here? not sure. Expected. Oh, come on. Oh, this is supposed to be that is need to be space somewhere. Okay, I missed the space. That's the issue. All right. So if it is equals to wrong password, so check over here. If I am writing the email address is correct, so sample at Gmail, that's the email which we created, and sample at 1234, that's a password. I hope so. If I click login, you can see it's showing as a wrong password. So if the text is this, that means the password is mismatched. If it is showing as a wrong password, then that means invalid. Otherwise, we can simply say password mismatch. Password mismatch. All right, so save these changes. Else, if I got any more mistakes, any more errors, that means then we need to simply set this message temporarily disabled due to many failed login. Because if you are constantly trying to log in again and again, like if you are having email or password, whatever it is wrong, if you are trying to, then after a certain login attempt, Firebase will block it for several hours it will not allow the user to log in again. So temporarily disabled due to many login failed will display this message. All right, so save these changes. And once if this alert message is triggered, we need to turn it off, right? So after this, I'm going to say set interval for 4 seconds. Keep it this 4 seconds, and then set alert message as false. Save the changes. Now, if I give something else over here, or I have to say something else, if I click login, that will gives me the invalid ID, user not found. After 4 seconds, that will be faded out. So the animation part is also working fine. So if the ID is correct, and if I am trying to log in, sample at 12, if I click login, it shows password mismatch. Oops, I forgot the password. I hope it is 3 login. Yes, it is login. So that means it's logged in successfully, and you will get that user token over here. See, user token. This is the user credential that we got over here, this login credential. All right, so we've successfully finished the Gmail authentication, and we finished the GitHub authentication, and we'll finish the create user account by using the email and password, and we successfully finished the sign in with Google option also. So now what we need to do is, whenever this authentication is happening, that means once it's this authentication's happened, so we have to push the user, to the where we have to push the user, collect the user from here, and we have to push the user to the Firestore database, and we have to push the user to our Redux store as well, right? We have to do those two things. So that's what we are going to do next.